Do you know the victim in this case, Christina Parcell?
Yes.
How do you know her?
We dated and were engaged on and off about 6 years.
And about when did y'all start dating?
2016.
And in 2016, where were y'all living?
I was living at my house in Rivoli Lane. She was living in her house or apartment. I don't remember what she had at the time.
And does Christina have a daughter?
Yes.
What is her name?
Aida Mello.
And did you get to know Aida Mello?
Yes.
And do you know who the father
Yes.
of Aida is?
Yes.
And who is that?
John Mello.
And were you aware of a child custody dispute between Christina Parcell and John Mello?
Yes.
And was this custody dispute ongoing from 2016 up until 2021?
Yes.
And how were you involved in the child custody dispute?
I would listen to her talk. Sometimes I'd assist her to go to an attorney, whatever, but, she'd just tell me about what it was.
Was it contentious?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Was there a lot going on in it?
Yes.
Was John Mello fighting very hard from his perspective?
Yes.
And Christina was fighting as well?
Yes.
Now, do you know where Christina was living on October 13th, 2021?
On Canebrake Drive.
Is that 122 Canebrake?
Yes.
And do you know who was living at that house at that time?
Yes.
Who was living there?
Her sister and her daughter and her.
Okay, what is her sister's name?
Tina.
Tina Parcell?
Yes.
And did you have the occasion to go to that house?
Yes.
And would Christina Parcell go to your house on Rivoli Lane?
Yes, sometimes.
And what kind of car was Christina driving at that time?
Lexus.
And who owned that car?
It was mine.
All right. Did you offer her to be able to drive that car?
Yes.
And did Christina Parcell have a cell phone?
Yes.
And did you assist her with the payments on that cell phone?
She had actually 2 cell phones. She had her own sometimes and mine also, but yes.
Did y'all communicate
Yes.
between those 2 phones? Do you know about when Christina moved to Canebrake?
I would have to think about it. I'm thinking maybe April, May, somewhere in that time frame.
And did you have the occasion, as part of the child custody dispute, did Christina Parcell have to go to Italy?
Yes.
And do you know the circumstances surrounding why she would have to go to Italy to get her child? Can you tell the jury what your understanding of those circumstances were?
Mr. Mello kidnapped the daughter and left the country.
And do you know about when that was? And if you can't remember, it's not.
It was probably 6 months before April,
Okay.
whatever that works out to be.
And as a result of that, what did Christina do when Aida moved to Italy with John Mello?
She found out where he was located. She contacted her congressman and the State Department and the FBI.
And did she attempt to obtain the return of Aida back to the United States?
Yes.
How did she do that?
Through the State Department. I think it was the Hague Agreement.
And did Christina actually fly over to Italy?
Yes.
Do you know how many times?
Twice.
And were you assisting her and helping her throughout this process?
What do you mean?
Financially, were you helping her?
Some, but she was receiving contributions and reimbursements from those organizations that help women like that.
Women obtain the return of their children who've been taken abroad?
Yes.
And so did you emotionally support her? Were you involved? Did she tell you what's going on?
Yes.
And so do you remember did Christina ever get the return of her daughter?
Yes.
Do you remember when that was?
April, May time frame of the year.
of 2021?
Yes.
I'm going to take you back to October 13th of 2021. Do you remember that day?
I do.
Can you tell us what you did that day, starting in the morning?
Well, she had a job interview, and
She is Christina Parcell?
yes, Christina Parcell had a job interview. Typically, when she had something critical, I would call and try to make sure she was up, and she was. And then when she was driving to the interview, she called me, and we talked for a while. And then she was a couple minutes from her interview, and so she hung up.
As far as you know, did she go to that interview?
Yes.
And then when she was at that interview, what did you do?
Generic things, common things around the house. Had to clean up and do laundry and dishes and things like that.
And then did you ever attempt to contact Christina?
Yes.
About when did you attempt to try and contact her?
I think it's around 11 o'clock, plus or minus somewhere in there.
And so how did you do that?
By phone?
And were you successful?
No.
So as a result of your unsuccessful attempt to contact her, what'd you do?
I thought I should probably go over and see how she's doing.
And did you do that?
I did.
How did you get there?
I drove my car,
What kind of car did you drive?
Mercedes.
Is it red?
Yes.
When you drove over there, where did you park it?
In their driveway.
And when you arrived to 122 Canebrake, what did you do?
I went to the front door and rang the doorbell.
And were you able to enter?
No, she didn't answer.
So then what did you do?
I walked around the back door because frequently they'd leave the back door unlocked. And I walked into the back door.
This jury just saw the body camera of Chris Robinson. Did you see him go in the house?
See who?
Deputy Chris Robinson, the officer who you spoke to, the first person you spoke to on scene.
I may have, but I don't recall who he was because there were several people
And
there.
the door that he used, was it the door that you used to enter? Do you know what door he used?
I think they went through the front door. No, they might have gone to the back door. That's right.
And is that the door that you used to enter
Yes,
the house?
yes.
So you did enter the house?
Right. Again, I'm not sure whether it was the front door or the back door that they entered.
And so what did you do when you walked inside the house?
It was dark, quiet, and so I walked back to down the hallway to see if she was in the bathroom or the shower, and it was all dark. And I looked on the floor, and right at the entrance of the living room and off that hallway there were petals from like a rose. And as I looked into the room, and I saw her on her back.
And when you saw her on her back, was there a lot of blood around the room?
Yes.
What did you do?
I walked over and yelled at her and then called 911.
And when you called 911, what were you requesting?
I told them who I was and where I was, and we needed, I guess, an ambulance or and the police assistance.
At this time, on October 13th, did you know where John Nola was located?
I assumed he was in Italy.
All right. Mr. Post, I'm going to show you some envelopes. I'm going to refer you sort of back to around June of that same year, 2021. And I'm going to show you some envelopes and ask you if you recognize these envelopes. And I'm going to show you State's Exhibits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to start with Exhibit 1. I want to make sure the jury can hear me, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to stand this way. All right, I'm going to start with Exhibit 1. And do you recognize that document?
Yes.
Okay. Tell this jury about how you came in contact with this document.
It was mailed to me.
Say it again. I think
It was mailed to me.
okay. And is your name on it?
Yes.
And the return address is a P.O. box. Whose P.O. box is that?
It's also my P.O. box.
And when about was it mailed to you?
June 30th? June 30th.
Did you receive other envelopes as well?
Yes.
Okay. Tell this jury about how that happened.
Be a little more specific.
So tell this jury you received an envelope. What did you do once you received it, and did you receive other envelopes? Question.
I received the envelope. I opened it because it was very suspicious, with my return address. And I looked at it, and then I called my attorney.
Why did you call your attorney?
Because of the contents inside.
Can you explain, can you describe the contents?
Yes, there were naked pictures of Miss Parcell, and if I remember right, there was a mailing list of which would kind of indicate that they were going to be sent also to those locations.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 2. Is that a similar envelope as well?
Yes.
And did you open all these envelopes?
No, I did not.
On State's Exhibit 2, what is the address that it was mailed to?
It was mailed to me, but my name was misspelled.
And then I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 3, another envelope.
Yes.
And is it a similar envelope to the other ones that you received?
Yes.
And what is the address on that?
I'm 24, it's 25, it was my neighbor's.
So 25 is your neighbor's house.
Yes.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 4. Do you recognize that envelope?
Yes.
Where was that envelope?
It was sent to an establishment that I spent a lot of time with.
And what is the return address on there?
It's mine.
How did you obtain this one if it was sent to another establishment?
I had known since the very first one that others may be sent to people. And so since I knew the owner very well, I told him that he may be receiving an envelope with those dimensions. And I said, if he does, I'd appreciate a call back.
And State's Exhibit 5. Is that another envelope?
Yes.
And what is the address there?
My address.
And the return address is?
My P.O. box.
And State's Exhibit 6.
Yes.
What address is that one?
It's 22, which is another neighbor.
So after you received and collected all of these envelopes, what did you do with them?
I talked to my attorney, and we set up a meeting.
All right. And after you talked to your attorney and set up a meeting, what did he suggest y'all do?
That we would meet with the county investigator, we did it with Mr. Bevel, and also to talk to the post office since they were sent through the mail.
And did you in fact have that meeting with law enforcement?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of that meeting?
It was to give them what we call evidence, or the things that we were sent, and ask them what we should do next.
And were you in essence filing a complaint with law enforcement for a potential crime?
I don't understand the question.
Were you going to law enforcement in an effort to give them evidence of a potential crime?
Yes.
And when you're meeting with law enforcement, you say Detective Daniel Bevel and Mike Nicholson with the Postal Inspector's Office. Did you tell them how you obtained these items?
Yes.
And did you discuss who you thought might send them?
Yes.
And who did you tell law enforcement that might send these photos or had possession of these photos?
Well, we thought we knew who, of course, was behind them, but we weren't sure who sent them because he was supposedly out of the country.
So who did you tell the detectives had possession of those photos of Christina Parcell without any clothes on?
Mr. Mello?
That's John Mello?
Yes.
And that is who she was engaging in a child custody dispute with over Ida Mello?
Yes.
Now, finally, Mr. Post, I'm going to ask you, have you ever met Zachary Hughes?
No.
Have you ever talked to Zachary Hughes?
No.
Have you ever corresponded him with, in any way, shape, or form, through email, social media, or the like?
No.
When was the first time you knew who Zachary Hughes was?
When my attorney said to me to come see me, and he showed me a picture and said this person was arrested for the murder.
For the murder of Christina Parcell?
That's correct.
And a couple more questions, Mr. Post. You and Christina Parcell were engaged.
Yes,
Did you give her a diamond ring?
I did.
Was she wearing it that day on October 13th, 2021?
Yes.
And on that day, did you provide her or give her any flowers the day before or that day?
No.
Didn't give her any roses or anything like that, did you?
No.
Now, did you do any prep work in this particular case?
With any case like this, typically we're having to look into the case details to determine what the best avenue of testing the evidence is, depending on the type of evidence, what we're looking for in a case.
Did you retrieve any items from the property and evidence for processing?
Most of the items I tested were prepared by our serologists in the lab. I did pick up 3 references.
All right. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 101 and ask if you recognize this.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a buccal swab from John Mello.
And how did you obtain this this item?
I would have received it from our property and evidence department.
And sort of the same way that Ms. Burbage just testified to.
That's right.
And when you obtained this this item, how did it appear to you?
So whenever I pick up evidence items, I check the packaging, make sure everything is properly sealed and labeled, and it was.
Was there any tampering or any kind of cuts on the items before
No.
you took it back? And if there was, would you have noticed that?
I would have.
And would you have documented that?
I would have.
And would you have tested it otherwise?
Most likely not.
And what is this? What is John Mello's swab? Your reference number now?
So I gave it, our item number is item 27.
27. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 10. It's already been admitted into evidence. Just get you to identify that.
Yes, this is a sealed package containing buccal swab from Bradley Post. This is this one you've handed me is DHE1. The one I tested was you handed me DH-E2. The one I tested was DH-E1.
Please, court, Your Honor. One of them got admitted into evidence.
We can take a quick break.
Here. There it is, Your Honor. Got stuck over here. I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 11.
Yes, I recognize this. This is our item 25, sealed package containing buccal swab from Post Bradley.
And did you collect this piece?
I obtained it at,
retrieved it.
I got it from our property and evidence department.
And when you retrieved it, did you inspect it?
Yes, I did.
And was it properly sealed?
It was.
And if it wasn't properly sealed, would you have noticed that?
Yes, I would have.
And would you have noted that in your documents?
I would have.
And would you have tested it?
No.
And finally, State's Exhibit 181. You recognize this?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
So this is a sealed package containing buccal swabs from Alex Fields, case item number JDS1.
And did you retrieve that from property and evidence?
I did.
And was it properly sealed?
Yes, it was.
Our state moves items 11, 181, and 101.
Your Honor, I would object to citing 901 in favor of property samples changes.
Your objection is noted for the record. I overrule and consistent with the cases of Hatcher and the other cases which I've mentioned earlier, 11, 181, and 101.
You got Exhibit 11, correct?
11, 181, and 101
Thank you.
are admitted into evidence.
All right, Mr. Nafsinger, I don't think I've moved to qualify you as an expert yet. Your Honor, I move to qualify Mr. Nafsinger as an expert.
Your man inquires what the field is.
In DNA analysis.
No objection.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as I've said with other experts, this witness will be qualified to testify in the area of DNA analysis, and he can give his opinion in that area. However, it does not mean that you must accept the opinion, but it is an evidence for you to consider and use in any way you see fit, and give it the weight and credibility that you feel is appropriate. You can proceed.
So, Mr. Nafsinger, tell us how you analyzed the items that you just referenced and the ones that in general, and that Ms. Burbage referenced as well.
So there's 4 basic steps to DNA analysis. So first is called extraction. We have to basically break the cells open and get the DNA out of the cells. And then we have to do a process called quantification, which is where we simply find out how much DNA is present in the sample. Then we do a process called amplification, which is where we make lots of copies of specific areas of DNA. And then we put those copies onto our genetic analyzer, which then produces a DNA profile. Then we have to interpret the DNA profile. DNA is a comparison science. The only way we can know whose DNA is present on an evidence item is if we have a known sample, such as a buccal swab, to compare to it.
Now, Ms. Burbage testified about taking clippings and swabs. Are those the items that you tested?
Yes, they are.
All right, and so, and I'm just going to go over, tell this jury the knowns that you tested in your reference item.
So I did a total of 6 reference items. Item 10A was a sample of buccal swab from Christina Parcell. Item 11A was sample of buccal swab from Michael Manigault. Item 12A was sample of buccal swab from Zachary Hughes. Item 25 was a sealed package containing buccal swab from Bradley Post. Item 26 was a sealed package containing buccal swabs from Alex Fields. And item 27 was a sealed package containing buccal swab from John Mello.
All right, so tell us, what is a reference sample?
So a reference sample is just a known sample of somebody's DNA. That's so that we can compare the profile that we get from that reference sample to whatever we find on the evidence.
And then those reference numbers that I'm referring to, are those just the numbers that you refer to in your report?
That's right.
And then you generate a report describing your findings?
That's right.
And then what do you call the items that you're trying to see if there's DNA matching to them?
So we'll call those questioned items because we don't know what we're going to find on them when we go to test them.
All right. And so in this case, what question items did you compare to? Compare the reference items to?
Well, I did quite a few items,
yeah.
a lot of them.
Okay, let's talk about it. So about how many items do you think that you tested in this particular case?
Let me check my report.
And you can give an estimation.
More than 20, it looks like.
And so I'm going to refer you to your reference items 2A and, 5A and 6A. Can you tell the jury what those items are?
So item 5A is sample of swab from right handle brake of black Kona bicycle. And item 6A is sample of swab from left handle brake of black Kona bicycle.
Okay. And so just give another general description. In the lab, you've got, and this is 5A and 6A, the swabs of the black Kona bicycle. It is just a clipping of that swab that you're using.
That's correct.
And that is the swab that that Hannah Burbage process or prepared for you.
That's correct.
All right, and where did you get that swab from?
I got it from DNA Freezer 1 in the DNA lab.
And is that a secure location?
It is. The entire DNA lab is secure with only key card access, only accessible by the people who work there, and there's an alarm system. So.
And what measures do you instill to make sure that there's no cross-contamination from the reference samples?
So when I'm doing my extractions, the questioned items are extracted at a separate time and space than the known samples. So when I'm handling the questioned items, I have not handled any of the reference items yet. And so anytime I'm doing my processes manually, I'm only having one tube open at a time, and I'm only working question items, and then later I work the reference items. Later on, some of our processes involve robotics, and all our robotics have passed extensive validation tests that have also been audited when we get audited. And a part of those validation processes are contamination assessments, where we basically set it up to try to force it to contaminate and set up where we would very easily see if it did, and they've always passed.
And so do y'all have sort of safety measurements in place inside the lab to make sure there's no contamination or other issues arising out of the testing?
Yes, so in addition to those precautions, I'm obviously wearing protective equipment. So I've got a mask, gloves, a lab coat, change my gloves frequently. We also work with controls. So with every extraction batch, I have what's basically called a reagent blank, which is just an empty tube that I do everything to it, the same thing I'm doing to all the other samples, and I run it just like all the other samples to see if anything shows up in there, because we would see it if some DNA is being transferred between samples.
And do y'all have a peer review system?
We do.
And how does that work?
So we do 2 reviews. We have a technical review and an administrative review, and the main point of the review is another analyst who's fully qualified to do the same processes that I did, goes through and looks at all of my data, essentially reinterprets everything, makes sure they agree with all my conclusions, that they don't find any issues with what I did, and no report is released until it passes review.
So in reference to 5A handlebar, right handlebar conobite, in reference to 6A left handlebar of the conobite, did you compare that swab to your knowns in this particular case?
I did.
And what was your conclusions of that?
So for item 5A, which was a sample of swab from right handle brake of black Kona bicycle, my findings were the DNA obtained from item 5A is a mixture of a major male individual and at least one trace contributor. The major contributor matches the DNA of Zachary Hughes. A match between the DNA result of item 5A and the DNA of Zachary Hughes is approximately 2 septillion times more likely than a coincidental match to a random unrelated individual. Upon establishing Zachary Hughes as a contributor to this mixture based on the match statistics, Michael Manigault, Bradley Post, Alex Fields, and John Mello are excluded as contributors to the DNA obtained from item 5A. Due to limited data of the remaining alleles, there is no statistical support for an inclusion or exclusion between item 5A and Christina Parcell.
So what does that last part mean, inclusion or exclusion of Christina Parcell?
It basically means no conclusive determination can be made for this individual.
So now I'm going to refer you to your items 2A and 3A, 2A being the clippings of the right hand of Christina Parcell. Did you have the...
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I don't fit the question.
I was just going to ask him if he compared that to the known references.
So I had items 2A and 3A. 2A was a swab of tips of fingernail clippings from victim's right hand. Item 3A was swab of tips of fingernail clippings from victim's left hand. Item 3A, PCR procedures for autosomal DNA analysis were not performed on item 3A due to the presence of large amounts of total DNA compared to male-specific Y chromosomal DNA. That is a case, basically, when we do our quant, or when we see how much DNA is there, we can see how much, in situations like this, we can see how much female DNA is present versus how much male DNA is present. And if it's too little, the next processes won't show up the male contributor because there's just too much female DNA. It's kind of like trying to hear your phone ring in a rock concert. It just gets overwhelmed. So at that point, we stopped with that sample.
So you're referring to the clippings of the left hand?
That's correct.
Okay. And so, and for reference, the items that you're dealing with are literally swabs. They're very tiny.
That's right.
All right. And so, did you have the occasion to test the clippings from Christina Parcell's right hand, which is your reference item 2A, to the knowns?
Yes, I did. So for item 5A, or I'm sorry, for item 2A, swab of tips of fingernail clippings from victim's right hand. My findings
Your
were...
Honor, and I'm going to object pursuant to Rule 403. It's our position that says no probative value based on their inability to properly establish chain pursuant to 901.
Your objection's noted for the record.
Good again. So
And
did
just for the record, I find that Rule 403 is extremely probative and substantially outweighs any unfair prejudice. But your objection's noted on the record.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I'll refer you back to clippings of the right hand 2A.
Yes.
And compared to our known references there.
So the DNA obtained from item 2A is a mixture of at least 2 individuals, a major female and a minor male. Assuming Christina Parcell is the major contributor to this mixture based on this being an intimate sample, a match between the minor DNA result of item 2A and the DNA of Zachary Hughes is approximately 825 million times more likely than a coincidental match to a random unrelated individual. Michael Manigault, Bradley Post, Alex Fields, and John Mello are excluded as contributors to the DNA obtained from item 2A.
So did you just tell this jury that Zachary Hughes' DNA is 825 million times more likely than a coincidental match to a random unrelated individual located under Christina Parcell's fingernails?
So what that stat means is it's called a likelihood ratio. And basically we're looking at two hypotheses as an explanation for the evidence profile that we find in the sample. So for every comparison, and we compared all the people to it, for every comparison, the first hypothesis is that this person's DNA is the best explanation for what we found on the evidence. And the other hypothesis is that it's somebody else in the random unrelated population. And so we're able to do statistics on this. And so it's kind of like sort of a seesaw effect. So when you have, for example, I read an inconclusive one recently, that's where it's kind of balanced, like it's not really tilting one way or another. If it's an exclusion, it means it's tilting toward someone in the random population is the better hypothesis to explain the evidence. And when it tilts the other way, which it did in this case, that's giving strong support for the hypothesis that that person's DNA is the best explanation for the evidence.
So what is the lowest probability standard that you would be permitted to report?
Per our lab policy, the lowest we'll report is a match score of 1,000.
And this one was 825 million?
That's correct.
Master Deputy Wolf, you're still under oath.
Yes, sir.
So did you become involved in the harassment investigation regarding all those photos?
Yes, sir, I did.
How did you get involved in that?
During the murder of Christina Parcell, I obtained a search warrant for Zachary Hughes's Gmail account, which would include his emails. After I received his emails, I became involved in that investigation.
Now, how did you locate his Zachary Hughes's email?
When we did the search warrant at 200 Tyndall Avenue, we seized his cell phone. A cell phone extraction was done on that device, and we were able to determine what email address he used on his cell phone.
And then once you obtained that email address, what did you do?
I then obtained a search warrant for the email address. Since I knew that Mr. Hughes had been in communication with John Mello, John Mello's overseas, they obviously have to communicate through electronic means.
And in those emails, were there also email addresses for John Mello as well?
Yes, sir.
And did you obtain a search warrant for John Mello's email?
Yes, sir, I did.
Do you recall the email address that you sent the search warrant off to Google?
For John or
For Zachary Hughes.
it's zachary.david.hughes@gmail.com.
And what about Mello?
John at milestonemusic@gmail.com.
And did Gmail or Google return emails to you as a result of that search warrant?
Yes, sir, they did.
And were you able to review those emails?
Yes, sir, I was.
And by reviewing those emails, were you able to confirm that it was in fact this Zachary David Hughes and the John Mello that we're talking about in this case?
Yes, sir.
What was the basis of that?
So when we receive somebody's Google information, we obtain more than just emails. We get account information they provide Google, such as their name, phone numbers, addresses. If they allow Google to back up photos, for example, Mr. Mello in his Google account, I have photos of himself and his daughter that he took that allowed Google to back up.
That Google sent you?
Yes, sir.
Search warrant.
Yes, sir.
Were there any conversations among those emails?
Yes, sir, there were.
And were those conversations between John Mello and Zachary Hughes?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to determine that it was, in fact, this Zachary Hughes and the John Mello we're talking about in this case?
Yes, sir.
Were they talking about, what were they talking about?
Christina Parcell, they were referring to her as Sweet Caroline Warren.
Need a number. All right, Master Deputy Wolf, I'm going to show you States Exhibits 166 and 165 and see if you recognize those documents.
Yes, sir, I do.
What is States Exhibit 166?
This is a certification of authenticity from Google verifying the records I obtained were from the Google account zachary.david.hughes@gmail.com.
And you got that email off of Zachary Hughes' phone when you reviewed it?
Yes, sir.
And what about States Exhibit 165?
This is the same document, except this was received when I received John Mello's Google information at john@milestonesound@gmail.com.
And how did you locate that Gmail?
That was through communications that Mr. Hughes was having. They were sharing emails.
Our state moves States 166 and 165 into evidence.
No objection.
No objection, 166.
Now, let's back up a little bit. So when you received this information, what information did you receive from Google when you sent off the search warrant for Zachary David Hughes' Gmail and John Mello's email?
So it depends on what email, or excuse me, what information, what data each individual user allows Google to track. So in this case, emails, it could be pictures, phone contact list backup, location data, Google voice messages, anything along those lines, that any information that Google stores on you.
And then when you get emails, is it just a big stack of emails, or do you have to put them in a computer? How is it given to you, and how are you able to just read emails?
So they give it to you in a file that they call Inbox, and then you have to put it into another program called Thunderbird to be able to view the emails.
And did you do that in this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
And as a result of putting it into Thunderbird, were you able to review the emails between Zachary Hughes and John Mello?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you States 167. States Exhibits 167. I'll ask you if you identify that.
Yes, sir. This is an external drive that contains the emails, the raw data I received from
And
Google.
have you reviewed this?
Yes, sir, I have.
Is that your initials?
Yes, sir, it is.
So this is the raw data that you received from Google?
Yes, sir.
State moves Exhibit 167 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, so back, so when you, thank you, Your Honor. When you get this stuff, did you put this information into Thunderbird?
Yes, sir, I did.
And once you did that, about how many emails do you think you recovered?
For Zachary Hughes, it was a little over 23,000. I don't remember the number for Mr. Mello.
Okay. And then, as part of your duties in this case, did you go through those and sort of create a package of the emails just between John Mello and Zachary Hughes?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right. And between those two, how many emails did you, just between Zach Hughes and John Mello, how many emails do you think you obtained?
Oh, hundreds.
While you were doing that, was there a particular email that brought your attention?
Yes, sir, there was.
I'm going to show you States Exhibits 167. I'm sorry, 168. I'm going to ask you if you recognize this.
Yes, sir. This is an email that Mr. Mello sent Mr. Hughes on May 16th of 21.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 168 into evidence.
No objection.
Objection.
All right, I'm going to show you the top of this email. And so can you tell, starting with the forward, what this is?
Yes, sir. This email was forwarded from John Mello to Mr. Hughes. The title is Christina Parcell, a.k.a. Sweet Caroline Warren. You can see that the message where it says forwarded messages, the original message came from Mullins Investigations at protonmail.com.
All right, as part of your investigation into this, did you look into Mullen Investigations?
Yes, sir, I did.
How did you do that?
So I started with just the basic Google search. I found no private investigative company named Mullen Investigations. And then we contacted SLED. In South Carolina, if you're a private investigator, you have to be registered and licensed through SLED. SLED had no record of a Mullins investigation or a private investigator with the last name Mullins.
And so you you never located Mullen Investigations?
As far as I can tell, they don't exist.
And I noticed that it says at protonmail.com.
Yes, sir.
That's significant.
Yes, sir, it is.
How is that?
Proton Mail is a company that's based in Switzerland, where privacy laws are very different. When you create an account there, they don't ask for any of your personal information. They don't comply with our search warrants. We have no way to get any information from them. They make their business off guaranteeing that you're going to stay anonymous.
So if you wanted to create Walt Wilkins at protonmail.com and send emails, would you be able to do that?
Yes, sir.
You would not have to give any of your personal information.
No, sir.
And then you could then represent yourself to be Walt Wilkins at protonmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And have y'all attempted to try to get information from protonmail.com before?
I have not personally. I know of investigators that have in other cases and federal cases. No.
So I'm going to move forward. So what was this? Was this attached to the email?
Yes, sir, it was.
Okay. And what is this?
This is the same advertisement that investigator Bevel covered that was in the packages, the 6 packages that were mailed out, the escort or prostitution advertisement.
And was there a Bella Don Giorno attached to it?
Yes.
Where's that?
Down at the very bottom.
Right there?
Yes, sir.
And then whose name is over here?
Caroline Warren.
Okay. And is this the same photos that we just saw with Detective Bevel?
Yes, sir.
And did you notice anything about how it's with the photo there? Who was in the photo?
Christina Parcell.
And did you notice anything about how it's cut and pasted?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did you notice?
So first thing I noticed is that the margins are off. The photo of Miss Parcell is too far to the left. And then at the top of the advertisement, you can see where it looks like they cut and pasted it, but they left a couple other, where your finger is. Maybe those were letters or some other part of the web page that they just didn't cut off.
Now, on this email on May 16th, 2021, to Zach Hughes from John Mello, is that Belladonna Digiorno-escort.site.com on this picture?
No, sir, it is not.
Nowhere to be seen.
No, sir.
So this photo, you can see the top of it of Christina Parcell right there, is just a photo of Christina Parcell.
Correct.
Nothing else on it.
No, sir.
All right, I'm going to show you the second page of State's Exhibits 168. And what is the top up there?
That shows the title of the forwarded email, Christina Parcell, a.k.a. Sweet Caroline Warren, and then that is Christina Parcell's face.
And is this one of the photos that was in the packages that
Yes,
we
sir.
reviewed?
Yes, sir.
And in this particular photo, is the URL belladonna-escort.site.com on there?
No, sir.
It's nowhere to be seen.
No, sir.
And I go here, best I can. Is that sent with Proton Mail? Sent with Proton Mail?
Yes, sir.
It's a secure email.
Yes, sir.
And then finally, how is it signed?
So that's John Mello's email signature.
All right, can you go through those for us?
Yes, sir. At the top, he's got an address for Milestone Sound in New York City. He lists himself as a house producer and a vocalist with phone numbers. Then he's got an address in South Carolina and Atlanta, Georgia, Torn and Trade Productions with a P.O. box here in Greenville. And then he's got addresses in Europe and one down there in Italy. What I will note is that the +39 number that ends in 0041, that is the number he was using to communicate through WhatsApp with Mr. Hughes,
And how do you know that?
through reviewing the WhatsApp messages.
So you reviewed WhatsApp messages off of Zach Hughes' phone?
Yes, sir.
And did you confirm that that number right there was the number used by John Mello?
Yes, sir.
Did Christina Parcell and John Mello ever engage in disputes over who had rights to their daughter?
For years, yes.
About when did that custody dispute begin?
They broke up sometime in October of 2015, and I know that she had a family court deposition in March of 2016, so almost immediately would be the best I could put it.
So about the time y'all reconnected, she was already engaged in disputes with John Mello over the custody of her daughter.
I don't believe that I don't believe they had begun in 2014 when she first started reconnecting with our family, but within that next year, shortly after they broke up.
So from that point on, were you, I don't want to say involved, but were you aware of the dispute, and did you support your sister during that time?
Well, sure. Not financially, emotionally, or, because we had been estranged for 4 years, that is, it sounds so trite. It's a big hurt. This is my baby sister, and I'm trying to find a way to put her back in my life. So even though she was going through this custody battle, I was also kind of trying to get over my hurt feelings with her. So we interacted, but we weren't, again, tied at the hip best friends at that point.
And so as time goes on, did the custody dispute continue?
For years, yes.
And did Christina Parcell begin a relationship with Brad Post?
Yes, she did.
About what time did she begin that relationship?
Again, based on documentation I've seen in her effects, within a few months of ending things with John Mello.
So around 2015?
Yes.
And so pushing up to 2020 timeframe, did your relationship with her grow closer?
Yes, in January of 2020, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 lymphoma, which is scary. And you dropped something. It's scary. It's aggressive. My sister and I met for lunch, and we're making a plan for how are we going to get my mom through this. If something happens to mom, how are we going to take care of our dad? Who's had multiple strokes. And during this lunch, she looked at me and said, I really want you to be a bigger part of my life and my niece's life. And so we started consciously choosing to be more involved with each other.
And at that time, where was everybody living?
So at that time, COVID, I was sheltering in place with my estranged husband in my marital home in Greer. That's awkward, but it was. My sister, again, she rented a duplex, so when she had visitation with my niece, they would do those visitations in the duplex, and then when she was not living in the duplex, she spent her time with Brad Post.
Okay, and up until about 2020, did John Mello and Christina Parcell share custody of?
Early on, I hate this phrase, but it's the only one I can really know. They had a gentleman's agreement early on about custody that suddenly nobody agreed to, so they went into court. John had primary custody. My sister had visitation, standard visitation every other weekend, weeks during the summer, time on birthday and Mother's Day, at the holidays. I think it's Richards Brown. I don't remember the name.
And so, and then during all this time, was there litigation going on between the two?
Yes, multiple times.
So I'm going to take you to about October of 2020.
Yes.
Did John Mello leave the country with your niece?
Yes, he emailed my sister and said we won't be here for the next visit weekend, can't make it to the next visit weekend, something to that effect, and missed the court-ordered scheduled visitation. Didn't know where or why necessarily until shortly after when we discovered they were out of the country.
And so in October of 2020, where was Christina living, that same duplex?
So no, in, again, March going to April of 2020, I'm sheltering in place with my now ex-husband, so super great. I decided I didn't want to do that, and I'm getting an apartment for myself. And my sister had just said, I want us to be closer, and her lease on that duplex was coming due in that spring of 2020, and I told her, I'm getting an apartment. I can get a 3-bedroom apartment. I clearly am a army of one and don't need a 3-bedroom, but if I got a 3-bedroom, then you could have your visit weekends with me, and we can spend time together. We have a playground, have a pool, et cetera, et cetera. So summer going into fall of 2020, my sister had her visit weekends with my niece in my apartment, and then she, again, was living for the most part with post non-visit weekends or non-visit weeks.
And was Christina Parcell working during this time?
Yes, she was a vet tech.
And, was she a full-time vet tech or a...
No, at that time she was part-time.
So in 2020, y'all discover that your niece has left the country with John Mello.
Yes.
Did this sort of set off a new set of litigation as far as the custody dispute is concerned?
Yes, she filed a rule to show cause in family court under the then agreement that she had, because they had reached an agreement. He was in violation of that agreement. Rule to show cause was, the family court equivalent of you broke the agreement. Once we determined where he was, she had already spoken to family court, her lawyer, Greenville County, tried to reach out to SLED, tried to reach out to the FBI. Once we discovered where they were, started investigating, how do you get someone back from a foreign country?
And was she dedicated to trying to get her daughter back?
Every day.
So what did she do?
Once we finally figured out that there is a Hague Convention for child abduction, not just war crimes, but truly for child abduction, reached out to the State Department. Her first contact was Zach, and then the second contact was a woman named April Conway. And essentially, you go through this entire application of the circumstances. You have to provide the court orders, the existing orders, that funnels up through the State Department to, they call it the Central Authority. So the U.S. Central Authority then reaches over to their counterpart in whatever the country is, because this happens for all of these countries that are a part of the convention. And then it goes down their chain. In this case, it was Italy.
And when did she start that process?
Oh, we found out where they were late October or early November, so probably November, possibly December of 2020.
And again, how did you find out that your niece was in Italy?
Her father posted a photo on Facebook of her standing in, think like a cobblestone plaza type situation. It was nighttime. There was a banner on the wall behind her that said the name Rovigo, Italy. And once we began searching down that rabbit hole, we found an online news article.
And were you having any contact with your niece at that time?
First time my sister got to speak with my niece was Christmas Day of 2020, so it had been 2.5 months.
All right, so you mentioned this Hague Convention. Did Christina continue to pursue that and, in fact, have some hearings in Italy regarding the ultimate custody of your niece?
Yes, so when you go through this process with the Hague, I am not an expert, but this is one of those things that kind of sticks with you. Since it goes through the Central Authority, essentially that other country, their government is acting on your behalf. So the equivalent of Walt in Italy was representing my sister. It's not that she had to hire an attorney. The state or the nation of Italy was doing it, because this is all international agreements and arrangements. All communication was done to her through the State Department. So they channel up, it goes over, it comes down, and back and forth. The State Department let her know that a hearing had been scheduled for February of 2021, and that she could attend either virtually or in person. And she called me to let me know. I was at work. She called me, and I asked her if she wanted to go, and she said yes. And I asked her if she wanted me to go with her, and she said yes. So I bought 2 round-trip tickets that day.
And did y'all ultimately go to Italy for a hearing?
We flew out of Atlanta on Wednesday, March 10th. We arrived in Venice, Italy at the Marco Polo Airport. The things that stick with you. We arrived around noon that Thursday. Court was the morning of Friday. We flew back to the States that Sunday.
And were you successful in getting your niece back?
We were nothing at getting my niece back. There was no decision reached in that trip in March. They said they would deliberate and they would reach out with more information.
Now, when you were there, did you get to see your niece?
Did I lay eyes on her? Yes.
Did you get to speak with her?
And again, this is just based on what happened, not I know the rules of Italy. But when we were there, they said the mother has to go in, the father has to go in, and the minor child cannot go in. He brought her to court, and she was not allowed to go in the courtroom, and she had to stay outside of the courtroom. I couldn't go in because I wasn't a party. She was now an unattended minor in a foreign country, which is, again, not great. And they asked if I would watch her. His attorneys asked that I not speak with her. That wasn't a court order. It was just, hey, can you sit here and watch her and not say anything?
And was John Miller there as well?
Yes, he's the one that brought my niece into court for that hearing.
So did y'all ever return back to Italy again?
My sister returned to Italy. So this was in March of 2021. She, again, received notice from the State Department it felt like forever, of course, but a few weeks later, either end of March, beginning of April, there's another hearing. Again, you can attend virtually or in person. She said, I want to go in person. I asked if she wanted me to go again, and she said, no, I'll go by myself.
And so did she fly to Italy?
She did fly to Italy, give or take tax day.
And was she successful in getting the return of your niece?
At first, there was no decision reached, and they said you can leave and come back when we decide. She opted to stay, and a few days later, I can check my records for actual dates. A few days later, they let her know that they had decided to repatriate. Italy repatriated my niece to my sister. John Mello and my niece were brought to a police station. Aida was given to my sister. My sister then had to wait a week to get a replacement passport for my niece because hers had expired when they were in Italy.
While Christina was over there, did she have to hire bodyguards?
We had 2 bodyguards. When we were there, we weren't allowed to, because again, COVID, we weren't allowed to take public transportation. We weren't allowed to sit down in restaurants. So we did have 2 people that were hired to both provide some protection for that day in court, but also to get us from point A to point B while we were in court. And she had the same staff were hired when she went back.
So what day did Christina and your niece return?
April 22nd of 2021.
So when they returned, to what residence did they initially go?
They started living with me full-time in the apartment that we discussed. The lease on that apartment was up in the middle of May, so I'd already started making arrangements to, live somewhere rather than renew the lease on the apartment.
And so did you eventually secure another location?
I had made an offer to buy the Canebrake home December 17th of 2020. I'd already been trying to buy that house for 4 months.
And did y'all eventually move into 122 Canebrake?
We moved into 122 Canebrake on May 14th of 2021.
So when once y'all moved in, You and who all lived there?
I was in the master bedroom, a nice tan with wood trim and a bay window. My sister was across the hall in a not great yellow bedroom. My niece was down the hall from her in what came as a hot pink bedroom. That she was thrilled about that. So it was the three of us. I had chosen this home. It was large enough. There was an ensuite. You saw it in the walkthrough. The salmon colored in the back had its own full bathroom, and that was going to be where my parents could live if they needed to in the future. So it was the three of us.
So you talked about this custody dispute, let's call it before John Miller and your niece went to Italy,
Yes.
and now we're past that. During this time frame up until May of 2020, how would you describe the dispute, this custody dispute between Christina and John?
It was active until the moment she died. There were still hearings while he was in Italy. He did not return to the United States for the, I guess it was 5 months, 3 weeks that they were here, almost 6 months. He would attempt to retain counsel, or did retain counsel, though it attend a hearing on his behalf. There was a hearing with regards to when could phone calls happen.
Did y'all ever fear for your safety or anybody, or your niece's safety, or your safety?
We wouldn't let her play outside by herself. It is a beautiful neighborhood, an exceedingly safe neighborhood. I mean, kids everywhere. So it's not that the neighborhood wasn't safe. We just didn't want her to be playing by herself. We didn't want her to get taken. The front window, part of why we always left it open was so we could see the front yard if she was out there.
Did John Miller ever do anything that made y'all feel unsafe?
Can you be more specific with your question with regards to place and time?
Around that time.
Around that time, I can't say if it was John Mello or not. I know that my employer received an anonymous packet full of John Mello and my sister's family court documents, and I know my sister didn't send it.
Ms. Gorman, can you tell this jury where you reside?
117 Caneburg Drive.
All right. And how long have you lived there?
15 years.
15 years. And so you were living there on October 13th, 2021?
We were.
And do you remember that day?
I do.
And before we ask you about that day, did you know Christina Parcell?
No.
Had you ever talked to her or seen her?
No. I've seen her, but I never talked to her.
And did you know where she lived at
Yes.
that point? Where did she live?
122.
Okay. And where is your house in relation to 122?
Like 3 away on the opposite side of the street.
Okay. And so that morning of October 13th, 2021, what were you doing?
Having my morning coffee.
Is that what you typically do in the morning?
Because my husband had gone back to work.
And are you currently working?
No.
Are you retired?
We're all retired.
Congratulations. So that morning, where do you usually take your morning coffee?
At the kitchen table. By the window.
By the window. And the window that you're referring to, what does it look out onto?
The Caneburg Drive.
And is there a sidewalk that you can see?
Yes.
And if somebody were to walk or bike past you, would you be able to notice them?
Yes.
That morning, are you familiar with Christina Parcell's daughter?
Yes, I saw her taking her daughter to school that morning, walking.
So you saw Christina Parcell and her
That
daughter?
morning, yeah, going to school.
And how would they go to school and pass your house?
They walk up to the end of the street. The school's across the road.
Okay. And so about what time did you see them
It was like 7:30.
7:30? Do you remember what Ida was wearing that morning?
No.
Did she have a backpack on?
Yes.
All right. And so you saw that from your kitchen table? Is that what you
Yes.
said? I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 108, and I ask if you recognize that photo.
I do.
What is that?
That's my plant.
That's your plant?
That's my side window that goes out to Canebrake, which is right here.
And is that the view you have from where you were sitting that day?
Yes.
Is that a true and accurate depiction of the view you had on that morning?
Exactly, yes.
Your Honor, State moves Exhibit 108 into evidence.
No objection.
108 comes in without objection.
All right, if I can. Yay. Do you see that photo, Ms. Gorman? And is that, so if you, in that photo, about where were you sitting on the closest part of that photo looking towards the plant?
I was sitting facing this way, and I was looking out that way.
And looking out the window right there?
Mhm.
And out the window, is that canebrake
It is.
right there?
It is.
So you testified that you saw Aida and Christina walk past you towards school.
Mm-hmm.
And around 8:15, were you still sitting there at your thing?
I was.
At your seat, at your table? Did you see anything of interest that day?
Yeah, I saw somebody on a bicycle.
All right, and so tell this jury what you would have seen from that vantage point right there.
There was a guy on a bicycle right here, dressed in all black with put a mask on his face.
So where about, and so I see those two trees in the photo. Where was he about where those two trees were?
Right in between them.
Right in between them. And you can see through your plant right there
Mm-hmm.
and see him? All right, and so can you describe the person that you saw and about what time it was?
He was tall and skinny. He was on a black bicycle. He was all dressed in black. I did say his sweatshirt was gray, but it was a hectic day that day, very scary, and it was all black. And I glanced over and saw him, and then I finished reading what I was reading. I looked up, and I didn't see him anymore.
So when you looked over and you saw him, was he wearing a backpack?
Yes.
Now, when you saw him for the first time, did he have anything on his face or his head or anything like that?
No.
And so what color skin did he have?
White.
What color hair did he have?
Kind of like a reddish sandy color hair.
Okay. And were you able to see his face?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit?
Mhm.
How would you see his face?
Because he kind of turned and then turned back.
And did he have gloves on?
Yes.
Or so he was wearing gloves when you saw him?
Well, he was putting them on.
Okay, he's putting his gloves on.
Hmm.
And then after he put his gloves on, what did he do?
I guess he got back on the bike and started riding, but he wasn't riding fast enough to get down Canebrake. When I looked back up, I didn't see him anymore. I didn't see him go in or come out.
Now, did he put a mask or anything on before he left your vantage point?
Yes.
What did he put on?
A white mask
And
and a hat.
And a hat?
Well, the hood.
A hood? Or
The hood on his coat.
I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 24. Do you recognize, let me ask you this, is the person that you just described to this jury look like the person in that photo right there?
Yes,
How so?
it just does.
Is it the same color bike? Is it the same clothes? I need you to respond.
Yes, it's just scary.
Is it the same mask that you
Yes.
saw and put on? And is it the same type of hood or hat?
Yes,
Okay. And what about a backpack?
it's on there. It looks black.
Is that the same person that you saw that morning around 8:15?
Yes.
Ms. Gorman, you recognize that person in this courtroom?
Yes.
Will you point him out for me?
Right there.
Are you pointing to the defendant?
He's right there.
Or let the record reflect that she's pointing to the defendant, Zach Hughes.